How we doing,
Sorry,
Mr.
whiskey.
Tyson Gusman?
I'm good. I will say I'm having a weird day. Weirder than most of my days recently.
You had a weird vibe when you walked in.
Yeah, I feel like I do. Well, okay, so the situation is I just recently found out that I have AFib, which is irregular heartbeat, and so I was just like checking today because I was feeling really weird, and I was checking what's going on, and my highest heart rate was 133. Keep in mind, I haven't been doing any strenuous physical activity. I went to church. It's not exactly the blood pumping experience that it used to be.
Like it's my blood pumping, brother. I'll tell you what.
So 133 was my high. My low was 48. So yeah, I'm trying to. I feel weird. I feel like I think you should feel when your blood is kind of moving like traffic. You know how
Traffic jam.
yeah. Well, you know how like in traffic, like when things are bad, you're just kind of like creeping along. But as soon as it opens up, you're like, like, yeah.
It makes me feel good that I have a better resting heart rate than a man who is very cute and skinny.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy.
I'm sure that you do. So my normal resting heart rate, when I'm not like, boom, 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 when my heart isn't playing jazz drums, my normal resting heart rate is like 72.
That's very high.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
You have an obese resting heart rate. Mine is like 50.
What? No, it's not.
I swear to God.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I know people that have like 30. You're probably pretty low.
No, I'm right where you're supposed to be.
What
He's
is
not
where
gonna
you're
tell
supposed
us.
to be?
50, 60
Yeah, he doesn't like to share over there.
Yeah.
secrets.
Yeah, he's a secretive boy.
I've felt like, so there was one time where I was out drinking late, took, it was supposed to be like a hangover remedy thing, but
yeah.
it was filled with caffeine. And so I was laying in bed one night and my heart rate would jump up to 200 and then it would drop down to 30 like that. And I was like, I'm fucking, I'm going to die.
Yeah,
like
this
I'm
is
freaking out.
Well, so yeah, that was what I did on the way over here.
You just held your fingers to your neck the whole time.
Well, I have been doing that a lot, which I used to do that before. Like if I got really scared, I would be like if somebody jump scared me or something, I would do it as like a bit. Like I'd be like, oh, good heavens, my aging heart. But now,
Little did you know.
I know, little did I know, I'm actually at risk. So no, but on the way over, I was like I'm a caffeine drinker. I drink a lot of, I don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink about a cup of coffee a day, but I'm serious about it, right? And so on the way over here, I was like, well, I feel weird. I wonder if coffee would make me feel better. You know what I mean? Because
So did you get a cup of coffee?
I did get a cup of coffee, and I do feel better. So I bet right.
On the way here, you got coffee, and you walked in here with no coffee. You
Well-
chugged the coffee.
Well, I got
That's
it.
why your heart feels funny. You're not supposed to drink it like it's a tequila shot.
No, I got it like, I don't know, a half hour ago, 40 minutes.
I also didn't know that you could share your ETA
Oh, yeah.
on iPhone.
Well, yeah.
That's a nifty thing. I got the notification.
Yeah.
And it's like, Tyson will arrive at your home at 1:32 or whatever, 2:32. And I was just like, this is kind of strange. I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah. No, I love doing that because I got really in the habit of texting people like, hey, running just a few minutes late. See you soon. I bet that if you went into my phone, you know that thing where like you type in one word and then you just hit the middle suggestion on everything? I bet it would come out something close to that if you were to just type out, hey. But like on the way, so now when I'm on the way places, I'm just like, I don't want people to have to guess what a few minutes is. You know what I mean? Because it started off as like I was going to be 2 minutes late, and then I was 5 minutes late, and then I wandered around your building for like 5 minutes looking for.
Well, yeah, I got a notification saying Tyson is arriving.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, Tyson's going to walk in here in 3, 2, and then like 48 seconds later, you showed up.
Yeah. Well, with my heart, I can't be climbing stairs willy nilly.
Yeah. It's a big flight of stairs too, very steep.
It is. I love stairs though. Like I'm a big stepper. I like you guys take stairs 1 or 2 at a time.
2.
1.
Yeah.
I got weak ankles.
I do it to assert my dominance.
This is a sales
Or
tactic.
to unstick your nuts from the side of your leg.
During the summer, that is absolutely why I do it.
Yeah,
100%.
Hey, why is Tyler walking up the stairs sideways?
I do have giant testicles too. So
Oh, really?
It is a problem.
I feel like you told me about this.
I've told everyone about this. This is like a thing about me that I like to share.
I told everyone about it. This is my power move.
It's honestly, it's become like a party trick.
To pull out your nuts?
Yeah, it's very fun.
People love it.
Not like when people aren't expecting it. Only when people consent.
Okay.
What is it? The like classic, like, hey, you want some bubble gum?
Yeah.
Stretch out some taffy.
Or the Mexican wristwatch. You like pull your dick across your wrist and then act like you're showing somebody what time it is.
What is it? There's somebody who has a joke about that. Is it Matt Bronger? He has a joke about like doing that to a guy at a bar, and the guy like, punched him or something. I don't know.
I have a friend who drew a watch face on the shaft of his cock and then stretched it over his wrist and sent it to us and was like, look at my new watch. And he drew it so nice that it really looked like a watch. And if you didn't like fully open the picture and just like peeked at it, you'd be like, oh, you got a watch.
Oh, what a weird,
What-
kind of
expensive
pinkish
watch, man.
It's a weird flesh-colored watch. And then if you open it, you can see like veins on his watch. It's very funny.
Which we could just make that like a New Entrepreneurial Avenue just dropped.
Cock watches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a very thick, veiny watch.
Okay. What would be your Shark Tank pitch?
My Shark Tank
So we
pitch.
come in and we're looking at Mark Cuban, Mr. Fantastic. That's his name, right? Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful, yeah.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
That old, mean, fucking white guy. The lady who's had all the work done. We're looking at them
Yeah.
right now. What would you be your pitch?
Well, I mean, it's easy because Mark Cuban's already wearing one. That was his power move. I pitched it to him in the parking lot before we got in there.
I was like,
already
wearing a
wearing-
cock
You're
watch.
gonna look so baller. Everybody else is gonna walk in and they're gonna be like, "Oh, my watch was made by no, my watch was made by God." As a sign of power.
You ever wanted to assert your dominance and know what time it is?
And you can get in the sizes instead of millimeters or inches.
No, the sizes are large, magnum.
It goes by condom sizes. It's like usually on Shark Tank they have like the big display.
Yeah,
Instead of there being a display, there would just be nothing, and you walk in and they're like, "What are you here to pitch us?" And it's just like, "I don't know, Mark. Why don't you show them?" And he just holds up his wrist.
Yeah.
And it's just a veiny watch.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I don't know if you guys can see that one from there." And then I pull out mine, and it's like 3 times bigger than Mark Cuban's.
You just have like a giant veiny black watch. Because it needs the contrast for camera.
It needs the contrast for the
You
camera.
can't have the same skin color cock on your wrist
and
that you have.
that's how I tricked Mark Cuban, and that's how Mr. Wonderful and me became business partners.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you had his cock as a watch.
I don't know which shark is which.
Mr. Wonderful is the old asshole.
I thought he was the black guy.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, he's the old cranky. No,
I
I
was
don't
for
sure
want
sure
it.
the
Mr.
black
Wonderful
guy.
was the lady.
Wow, you're so progressive. Quit bragging, dude. Let me look it up. I'll look up Mr. Wonderful. I'll be Jamie. Let's
Jamie.
see.
I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
We're talking about rebranding the podcast. We're gonna call
Okay.
it "What You Thinking About."
Mr.
Oh,
Wonderful is
good.
absolutely the white guy, Parker. You were correct.
I know things.
Doesn't the black guy have a nickname? Don't say it. No, he doesn't. His name is just Damon John. Wow.
Nice.
Well, you know what? I just think black people are more wonderful than white people. That's why I assume that.
Good man.
Yeah, rebranding the podcast with anti-racism. That's what Tyler's going for. It's definitely a new leaf.
I forget who I was talking to, but I said something about me being colorblind. And they were like, "Oh, that's why you don't see color." Huh. And I was like, "Yes, absolutely."
Okay, so tell me about the color. I do want to circle back to the what you're thinking about. So color blindness, you're like severely colorblind.
No, I'm not severely colorblind. I'm more like color disabled. So
Okay.
like I don't know what color your mic is. I know
Okay.
that it's either red, orange, or yellow, but I don't
Okay.
know what it is. Like anything close to each other on the color wheel blends.
Yeah.
So like dark blue and purple look the same. Light blue and like
Oh.
magenta kind of look like pink and blue. Like I know what the colors are. And
Okay.
like the thing about it is you just have to use context clues for everything.
Okay, yeah.
So like I know what Dodger blue is. So if I see something that's that color, I assume it's blue instead of purple. But like navy blue fucks me up because it looks so much like purple.
Have you ever
Okay,
just
yeah.
fucked up an outfit before?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you're wearing it and people are like, dude.
That's why he dresses in all neutrals now.
Yeah. I there was one time I was really scared that there was blood in my poop. And so I would send my mom pictures of my poop to ask if there was blood in it. And she is my mom, so
Sure.
she has that nurturing characteristic
That
of like, I'm
nurturing-
going to help my son. But she was very fed up with looking at pictures of my shit. Because sometimes they were not good looking turds.
Yeah.
She'd be looking at like a porcelain splatter and
Okay.
have to like zoom in on it and find out if there's blood in it.
Zoom in looking for flex. Okay, so your mom got sick of this, and then I imagine you just kind of had to stop worrying about it.
No.
Okay.
I just kept sending it.
Okay, so because what I'm wondering is when your mom goes, I'm not going to look at your poop anymore. How many people do you guys have on your list that would look like check your
30.
poop for blood? You have 30?
At least.
Dude, that's baller.
Yeah. Most people that befriend me are also disgusting.
So I was thinking about people who care about you even past what disgusts them. You were just like, no, the bar is low.
Yeah. I mean, I have two sisters that take shits way worse than me. So
There you go.
they would both also for sure do it. Parker would do it.
I'd check for you. Yeah.
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 I thought about sending you a pic of my shit the other day, but I was like,
I have
know.
a Snapchat group chat called I'm Taking a Shit. And there's 5 of us, and we just send videos of when we have like really disgusting shits of us just like squeezing out turds.
dude, my
or like
favorite
the sound of the splatter.
my favorite in my friend group chat is you get a shot of your nuts and then the shit hitting the water just past your nuts and then send that to everybody.
I don't know how it became a thing,
crazy,
but when we're drunk, occasionally we'll like send pictures of or like videos of us peeing, and it's just our full dick peeing, and that's very fun to just open a Snapchat from like your buddy group chat, and it's just his cock peeing in a porta potty.
Men are disgusting is the moral of the story.
Yeah, I have seen other men's dicks a lot more than I'm proud of.
Okay. This brought me to 2 thoughts. Not that that's a lot more thoughts. Okay. Have you guys been outside the country very much?
Once.
Okay.
I've been to Tijuana. That's it.
Okay. So outside of the US and like Western Europe, it's my understanding that like a lot of places don't have the like plumbing sewer infrastructure to support like flushing hygienic paper, right?
Correct.
They don't call it toilet paper because that's not where it goes. So I went to like Central America a couple times this year, and like one of the most like sort of perspective breaking things with that is like it doesn't feel that weird to like wipe and then garbage can. The weird thing is then standing up and turning around and looking at it, and then it's just like there's no like layer of freshly fallen snow. There's no like pure innocence to cover up the monstrosity you've just committed. It's just like perfectly white bowl, all of the horrors.
I've never understood, like, if you go to somebody's house and you look in their trash can in their bathroom and there's toilet paper in the trash can. I don't understand why people put toilet paper in the trash can. Like, what did they use that toilet paper for that's in the trash can? Because if I'm using toilet paper, it's only in my ass, and then I put it in the bowl and I flush it.
Really?
Where what?
So you've never used toilet paper for anything other than wiping
To like
your
blow
ass?
my nose, but if
There you go.
if I'm using toilet paper to blow my nose, I just throw it in the toilet and then flush it.
Wow.
What a waste of water.
Yeah, what a waste. That's like a gallon per flush, dude. You could,
You know how much water we have?
I mean,
Not as much
No.
as you think.
I bet you we do.
Mm-mm. Now we're running out.
all right. Jamie, if you could look up how much water we have, just type that into Google. How
Okay.
much water do we have?
I can absolutely do that. How much? Oh fuck! I can't type with one hand. I have fat fingers.
This is a fun mug, too.
Thank you. I got it for Christmas. Feel it. It's actually cork.
What? Oh,
Yeah, I don't
that's
know
crazy.
how to wash that.
Yeah. Huh. That's a hydro flask?
Yeah, that's top dollar stuff right there.
Yeah, that's legit.
Earth's water by the numbers. The Earth holds about 326 million trillion gallons. That is a number.
Of just water. We're talking fresh water.
No.
That's not what you asked me to
That's
type.
salt water.
Okay. Now I need to...
Do you shit in salt
See,
water, Tyler?
I
We
would if it was an
should.
option.
Shouldn't we?
I think
Why
we're
not?
a little ways away from it, though.
I think yes, we are. So like in Idaho, it doesn't really make sense.
3% of the Earth's water is fresh.
3%. So 3%.
But like also the water in your toilet goes through like a system and it's constantly being recycled. Like that water doesn't just disappear. That water gets flushed, goes into the sewer system, and then gets cleaned and recycled and sent back out.
Right, but then that's a lot of energy cost.
That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I mean, you don't have to. I think it's insane that we're just like totally cool with clean, fresh, pure, new water holding our pee-pee and poo-poo. Like, that's a weird thought to me.
Welcome to America, brother.
Yeah. No, but like, isn't that weird? Like, shouldn't we use like bad water for that?
Yeah, but I think you would have to replumb everything because the same pipes that bring in your sink water,
Right.
which some people drink, I think also bring in toilet water.
Right. I just think that like that should have been like I'd like to go back, I don't know, what is it, 150 years or something to the invention of the water closet and just go like, hey guys, let's just take the bottom of the sink and just curve that one over to the tank. Like that seems like it makes way more sense to me.
And then you're just using dirty water all the time?
Right. For the toilet. It's going to be
Okay.
dirty anyways.
Shark Tank idea number 2.
Shark Tank idea number 2.
You just
Shark
constantly
Tank.
have yellow and brown water in your
This
toilet.
is something that has to exist. There's got to be some aftermarket thing that takes your sink water.
That's probably true. Yeah. No, I believe that. Well, and I don't think it'd be that tough. Because really, like, oh shoot, I could do this. Because like the water fills up the tank that's above the toilet, and so like you would like turn the water off to the tank, and then you just fill that up with
Yeah,
whatever.
you totally could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you just have like a bucket of water
Yeah.
and turn the water off to your toilet and then just put a little bit in there when you poo and then pour more and flush yourself
Right.
and use infinitely less water.
God, we're so smart.
I'm not going to do any of that. I'm for sure going to keep... I flush like multiple times when I poo also.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there with poo in the water while I'm on my phone. I don't want to
Okay.
smell my poo while I'm on my phone.
Yeah. No. I mean, this is a good question. Like, how long is the average poop session for you?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Am I at work? Because it's a long time if I'm at work.
Is this my time or is it the company's dime? What are we talking here?
It's like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's about, usually I'm like 10, 15, right? But it entirely depends on how difficult the Wordle for that day is.
I need to get back into Wordle.
Dude, Wordle hits, man.
I got into, I forget what it's called, but it's like a baseball game. Mm-hmm. The perfect, Immaculate Grid is what it was called. And so it will
Immaculate
give
Grid.
you like a team, and you have to like put the player that was on both of those teams. And there are like more popular answers than others. So if you get like a guy that only 2% of the population guessed, then you get a higher score.
Okay.
So if you do like, if it's Angels Dodgers and you put Shohei Ohtani, that's going to be like the most answered one.
Right.
But if instead you put, Howie Kendrick or somebody else. Sorry, I know you guys don't like baseball, but this is riveting to me.
Yeah.
My
No,
favorite
we're
one is when
tracking.
they give you a statistic and then a team, and you have to like guess the player. It was
Oh.
like who had 300 career strikeouts with this team, and then you have to guess that. That's my
Yeah.
Wordle.
Yeah. That's really weird. Like that's a lot. How did you get this information?
I've consumed so much baseball in my life that I just know a lot. What you know about the stuff you know about, that's my brain with baseball.
Okay.
Do you have to use like a fork and knife to eat the baseball? Or
This is all the baseball I've consumed. You boil them first, and then you kind of.
Do you know what's underneath that leather in a baseball?
what?
Yarn.
No way.
You remove the laces and the leather,
Uh-huh.
and it's yarn, and then in the middle is like a little rubber or cork ball.
No kidding.
Yeah, if you deconstruct a baseball.
So you could just like crochet a baseball real quick. Just
You could, absolutely. You can make a homemade baseball.
Wow.
Take like one of those little rubber balls you get like out of the 25-cent machine,
Yeah.
and then wrap yarn around it to the size you want, and then just sew leather on it.
Dude, third Shark Tank idea: a homemade baseball kit. Perfect for Christmas.
I
Perfect for
kind of
your
like
little
that.
guys.
I mean, people sit around and make useless shit all the time. Like this blanket, that's a handmade, homemade blanket.
oh, I believe it. That's nice.
Somebody spent a lot of time doing that. They could have made a baseball.
That's true. They could have done something useful with their time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna leave a baseball sitting on the back of the couch. We'd have a
Or-
different podcast.
You could go to the store and buy a baseball for a couple bucks that some kid made in Taiwan.
Right. And you can feel
not have to worry
real
about
good
it.
about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I support. I wish we had little kids trapped in places making things here.
Well, I mean, some of us do.
Do you have something that you want to tell us?
No, he's looking at me real hard.
Yeah. Isn't that one of your jokes?
Children in my basement?
I feel like somebody. In the
No,
scene
but
has
I got
joke
a
about it.
fucking weird persona now. Like after the roast, like this is
Yeah.
how everybody views me. Like this is my persona. All right, well,
Somebody has a joke about the kids in their. Is it Moondeck?
I have no idea.
Moondeck has a really great joke about, you know how like every time a bell rings, an angel gets their wings. I think that's sweet. I like to think every time I shoplift from Walmart, a kid in Bangladesh gets their fingers back.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have seen him do
Brilliant
that.
joke.
Actually, I have seen him do that because the time I saw him do it, he asked somebody like, "Who here knows how to make their own socks?" And someone
Yeah.
raised their hands, and he like went off on the person like, "Do it."
Do it.
Make
then.
your own socks then.
Yeah.
Instead of some kid and then buying like he went into this whole like capitalist Walmart thing.
Yeah. Classic
But-
Moondeck.
I want to know more about the writing game.
Okay, yeah. Well, exciting time to ask too, because I just booked the 1,000-point party. So I'll begin at the beginning though, for the sake of the listeners, because we were talking about this at Haley's wedding yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know, when is this going to drop?
I don't know. Tomorrow.
Oh, sweet.
Next day.
Okay, yeah,
Pretty
quick
quick, yeah.
turnaround. Nice. So the writing game started because I was thinking about, I was going full time with comedy. And so I was thinking like, okay, I'm going to need to figure out how to like really focus on content. Cause like having a full-time job and doing comedy, like you fit it in where you can, right? Doing like, you make it out to as many shows as you can in a week
Yeah.
with the energy you have, whatever. But then it's like, you kind of have to prioritize like, okay, what am I going to do with the time I have for writing? And it's like, I have this joke I really want to work on. I'll do that. Or like, something comes to me in the car, like whatever the thing is, I end up doing a lot of writing, just kind of at an open mic, like hurriedly before I get on stage. But I was like, I want to be able to like focus, do something kind of disciplined. And I've done that in the past where, like, I'm going to sit down every day and for 15 minutes, I'm going to rewrite in this notebook. And that works great while it works. But then what's always happened for me is you miss a day.
And then you miss another day, and then it becomes less valuable of like, you
Right.
don't take it as serious.
Right.
It's hard to stay disciplined with writing.
Yeah.
I hate writing.
It sucks.
Comics that are like, I love the process and I love writing. It's just like, I fucking hate you. Because I hate writing.
I enjoy when I'm having a good time making the thing, right? Like if I'm sitting down and I'm like, this is what happens with the writing games is I'll make myself like the metric is I make myself laugh or chuckle.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's fun for me but I have to, it's work to get to that point.
Yeah.
And that work is like annoying. So I wanted to make that as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea was I was like, okay, there are like people who write outside of comedy, people who are just like fiction authors or whatever, will have like little disciplines that they do, or like
Yeah, like creative
300
writing
prompts.
games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but it's typically not pitched as games. It's again pitched as disciplines of like, oh, here's a little book of 300 writing prompts. Like open this every day, write a paragraph.
Yeah.
And so this is, I guess, another background to this is my mom wrote in high school. She wrote poetry and stuff like that.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And so like a couple years ago, she showed me this book that she had put together of a lot of her favorite poems and photos she'd cut out from magazines and stuff like that. And so for Christmas that year, I got her and I like matching writing prompts books. And I was like, yeah, like this is something that, we can do together. We can compare the things that we write. And then we never did that. Like, I think one time I texted her and I was like, okay, I'm doing prompt number 1 today. And then she didn't do it. And then I didn't do it again. And it just like died.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is like a commonly difficult thing to do. So what if I just like made it easier? Because part of it for me, when I was in college, I got into the habit of like rewarding myself with gummy bears.
Mm-hmm.
And so like my senior year, like the reason I graduated college is because my roommates bought a 5-pound bag of gummy bears and they were like, oh, we're probably not going to eat these. And I was like, perfect. Because I have to write a 25-page paper this week. And so every time I finished a paragraph, I would get a gummy bear. And then what happens is my brain goes, oh boy, I want another gummy bear. And I go, okay, but you got to write another paragraph first.
You're like a dog.
I'm like a dog.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, is everybody's too prideful to admit that they're like a dog, but we're all just like dogs, man.
Every time I pee outside, Dad gives me a treat.
Right.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Every time I do this
Exactly.
thing, I get a gummy bear.
Exactly.
I did the same thing except with Adderall.
Every time I finish a paragraph, use that one up.
I'm about 90 milligrams of Adderall in today.
So
I've written 4 screenplays in the last week.
You get so much done when you don't sleep.
yeah, no, you really do, and your heart goes. Do, do, boom, do, 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 do. So, yeah, I realized that really worked for me in college, and it's something that I still use like in the working world. Like I'll have a to-do list, and I'll make my to-do list at the beginning of the week, and then I'll go through, and every time I finish something, I eat a gummy bear, and I'll like splurge too. Like I'll get like the Albanese gummy bears.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, they're the best gummy bears in the game. I should have brought some. They're just like they're like a little bit bigger than most of the gummy bears, and they're made with like I think they say all natural on the bag or something, which who knows what that means. But they like have some complexity of flavor. You know what I mean? You know when some things just taste like, oh, this is red sugar, you know?
Red number 40.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
red number 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like they have like some complexity. There's like aromatic qualities. You could really tell the difference between the different gummy bears. Big fan.
You're a connoisseur of gummy bears.
I am.
You're
You
a
wanna
connoisseur
know-
of many things. You're
Yeah.
always talking like, oh, you fancy coffees, fancy gummy bears.
You want to know a fun fact about gummy bears?
I don't know. The way you raised your eyebrows during that
It's a
made me
good
think
one.
that I don't want to know the
I'll tell you.
Oh no.
Gummy bears are used in pornography because if you're shooting an anal sex scene, they want you to not be pooping and have poop in your butt. So you're not supposed to eat anything within a certain time frame before an anal scene. And the only thing they keep on set for the women, food-wise, because pornography, like higher end, like real studio stuff, is just like acting.
Sure.
Like they're gonna have like food on set for you.
Okay.
The only thing they allow
Craft
the women
services.
craft services, yeah. The only thing they allow the women to eat that day is gummy bears because gummy bears don't show up in your poop and don't make you poop.
So, are you telling me that gummy bears are the most nutritionally perfect food?
Perfectly
It's just-
efficient.
It all goes into your body. Like
Yep.
every bit of this is being absorbed.
And the only reason I know this is because I'm disgusting and used to follow a porn star on Instagram.
Okay.
Which is like, I no longer follow stuff like that because
Yeah.
people will like see that you follow that person and then judge you. And I don't want people to think I'm disgusting.
Which is strange though, because like of the ways to consume pornographic content, following someone on Instagram is like the most innocuous.
Well, in this person's scenes, I thought they seemed like a really cool person, and I followed them on Instagram, and they just had like a really cool looking life, and I
Yeah.
thought she was a very cool person. And one of her merch shirts was just a gummy bear.
And you were like, oh, what's this about? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she like explained her gummy bear merch.
Interesting. The other weird thing about that is like if somebody sees that you're following a porn star, that means they recognize them.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah, you're tattling on yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like last night I got heckled by somebody, and then I turned it into this whole crowd work thing, and then I had made friends with somebody else over the course of this. And so at the end of it all, my friend goes, yeah, no heckling. And I said, that's backwards. That's, yeah, I'm letting you off on easy this time, but you know, that's...
Okay, back to Albanese gummy bears
Right.
and treating yourself and writing.
Right. So I decided like, okay, I need to have some kind of framework where every day there's like a reward or a goal, like a building thing towards something, so that if I miss a day, it's not like, oh, I ruined the whole thing, or, you know, why would I get back into it? If I miss a day, I want it to be like, oh, I want to do that fun thing again. So I came up with the idea of like every day I score some points, because I came up with this point system where, okay, so I have 20 prompts. A lot of this was inspired too by like Roll for Sandwich. Have you seen those guys on Instagram?
Nope.
So basically, it's like a D&D inspired culinary account where they'll like roll a dice. Yeah, they'll roll a dice and it'll be like, oh, here's the I'm rolling for bread. I'm rolling for meat. I'm rolling for sauce. And then he makes a sandwich. You know, is it toasted? Is it not? And then he'll try the sandwich. He'll review it. It's just kind of a fun way to see somebody like try something new every day.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, what if I take that idea and have 20 different joke writing prompts? So like number one is like the classic, go to yahoo.com. I was like, what's the stupidest news network I could go to? So I get, no offense to yahoo.com. I am still vying for a sponsorship. Because Tyson Gusman, brought to you by Yahoo, just has a ring to it. You know?
I love Yahoo. I have a bit about Yahoo.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I remember that like a couple weeks ago, I saw you doing it. It was like, nobody reads Yahoo News. Anybody in here read Yahoo News? And I was like, yeah, approximately every 20 days if you average it out.
I didn't know that was still a thing.
Yahoo News?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, it's
really
interesting.
weird. So number one is Yahoo. I have like, one is, you know, go to the Poetry Foundation's Poem of the Day, write a joke about that. One is like, use the New York Times connections, like open your contact list and scroll into something random. So I just have all these different ones. And I have 5 minutes, or is it 5? Yeah, I have 5 minutes to write about this thing as much as I can. And then like one of the important tricks is I get points for every line that I write. So just the fact that I'm sitting there writing scores me points and gets me closer to my goal. Because a lot of times what happens with the discipline of writing is you write for a while and you go, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. Like nothing I wrote today is funny. This sucks. And you go, well, I shouldn't do this then. Like I should just wait for the muse to strike or whatever. But then that doesn't prepare you for when the muse does strike. So it's like, if I can reward myself and like acknowledge that I needed to get this unfunny stuff out of the way before the funny stuff came, right? I needed to knock some rust off. I needed to get in shape, whatever. Because any discipline has its days that feel non-productive. And so with this, it's like I reward myself whether or not I get something funny out of it. But then I get bonus points if I do get something funny out of it.
Yeah.
So there's still an extra reward for it.
Do you get extra excited when the thing that comes up is something that you already were thinking about, and then you get a new perspective on that thing?
Yeah. Well, so that's what was really interesting was I did this for probably 3 weeks before I realized, like, hey, I'm kind of doing consistent themes here that I didn't even realize were like things that were going on in my head. So I realized, you know, I had rolled a different prompt every day, had different things going on, but like part of the thing about this is because it's a game, because it's like fun and designed to let me just like go loose, I'm not super strict on the rules. Like if the Yahoo News article points me to something in my head that I want to talk about, I'll talk about that thing.
I've cheated on the writing game before for sure.
Yeah.
Just like I could get a couple more lines and
right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what it's for. Like it's so that you can like get excited about writing. So if you're like, ooh, I'm gonna be bad and write some more jokes today, it's like good, you know? So
You're so naughty.
I'm such a bad little guy. Just such a naughty little guy.
You are.
So
I'm so hard.
but yeah, what I realized was, you know, I'd written about something different every day, but I started to notice like, hey, I now have 3 jokes about my childhood, and I have like 2 jokes about my parents, and I have 4 jokes about politics. And so I ended up just like writing those 3 words on note cards and sticking them on my wall just to go like, you're probably going to write a set that's just these 3 things. And so, yeah, it's been interesting that like sometimes I'll roll something and I'll go, oh, cool. This was the thing I was talking about with Joe last night or whatever. Wow, that sounded like so fake and made up. My friend Joe is in town. That's why I thought of that.
I believe that you were talking to a person named Joe.
Okay, good. Because like,
that's not a thing that I thought you would lie about.
Yeah.
Now I'm questioning what you do lie about.
Yeah, I mean, all funny things.
Okay.
That's most of my goal.
You gotta punch them up.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love lying just like when it's for fun, you know?
Lying is maybe my favorite thing in the world to do.
It's great.
It's so much fun.
You know, well, because I was talking with a friend about this. Like, you can lie to yourself for fun, and like no one's there to bust you. You know what I mean? Like, I've tried doing a joke about this before, but like when I'm on a run and a dog is barking at me, that dog is cheering me on, and no one can tell me otherwise. Like, that's just how I think about it. Like, I'm running, it's like, "Arr, arr, arr," and what I hear is like, "You got it, buddy."
Do you then have an inner dialogue with the dog for like the next 10 minutes of like that dog telling you a story? And
Well, I should do that. What I have is an outer dialogue with the dog, like while I'm running past. I'm just like, "Thanks, man."
it'd be funny if you audibly did that.
I do.
Like a dog is barking and you're just, "Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it."
Yeah, that's what happens. And I'm in the middle of like I'm running around the kind of the back of my neighborhood in Nampa. So it's like, it's like a walking path. It goes.
You live in
alongside a creek.
Nampa?
Yeah.
Wow. I know
Yeah.
that.
Wow. The way he scrunched up his nose when he said that.
Yeah.
By the way,
I don't like people that live in Canyon County. I live in Eagle.
you live in a gated community, dude.
Yeah. I look down on people who live in Canyon County.
It's so funny to me because like I didn't know anything about where you live. Like I thought you were in like Boise proper. Well, I knew you were in Eagle because I feel like we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
But my brain was still auto-correcting.
Yeah, it's very interesting that I do well enough to like have my own nice place and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is very funny to see people come in and be like, "Oh, this is not what I was expecting."
Well, you
No, it's
got
awesome.
you got a double wide personality.
Yeah, I have a double wide face.
Well, no. So that's the weird thing, though, is like there is, you have an airbrush double wide faced because you're like very well kept. Like, you're like a very handsome dude.
Thank you.
And like you've got a really nice beard. You're always like well dressed, and so there's no part of me that's like that. It wouldn't have made sense if I came in and then like your house was a mess or something.
I think it wouldn't be surprising if I lived in a dump.
It would be a little surprising to me.
It's you're like a guy who you would expect to live in a double wide but doesn't need to.
Or it's like the nicest double wide at the trailer park.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
I
you
have
have
the
real
corner
tile in
lot.
the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah, I have like stone on the outside of my double wide instead of just like the regular
vinyl
paneling.
siding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, instead of like the rotting wood deck stairs leading up to it, it's that nice like never slip.
Not a plastic chair in sight.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I have a $500 outdoor patio set at my double wide.
It's real wicker. You're like, what in the Yeah.
It's like those fifth wheel trailers when you walk in and it's like a 5-star home and you're
Yeah.
like, "Holy shit."
Whoa.
Yeah. No, okay. But the interesting, just to brag on you for a second, because like one of the interesting things about that is I think often the perception and the fear for comedians is we are in comedy and we worry about getting comfortable. And if you get comfortable, then you won't have the ambition or the drive to like do the thing. And like you are doing like very well for yourself. Like you've got a lovely home and
It hinders.
does it?
Absolutely. I've had this conversation ad nauseum with people of like,
Oh.
I feel like I need to do worse in life.
Okay.
Like, I have a great job and I have no fear of like paying my bills or anything.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's wrong
Yeah,
with
yeah.
my life, really.
Right.
I need some chaos.
Okay.
Like, I need to quit my job and like do something crazy and like
When-
I need to like rent a room
Yeah.
from somebody that like
Right.
is chaos. Like,
When I lived in the basement of an office building, I never did more comedy
Yeah.
than then.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want to fucking
I
be
don't want to
here.
go home.
I don't-
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that
for
makes
sure a
sense.
thing.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, if you'd like to have a little bit more chaos in your life, might I suggest adopting a beneficiary?
Would you like to come live here for free?
Yeah.
And cause some
Yeah.
chaos in my home?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'll come in and I'll just like kind of pee on the floors every once in a while. Like I'll flip the Roomba upside down and watch it squirm like a little bee.
I've never used that Roomba. I turned it on one time and it upset my cat, and I never turned it back on.
Yeah.
That
poor
thing
little whiskey.
is for show.
It's
Most
for
things
sure.
in my home are for show.
I
I
was
don't know how to
wondering-
play the guitar. I have 2 guitars.
You don't know how to play them?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, because
I
that's
can
a
play,
really
like-
pretty telly.
Yeah. I bought that telly because I knew it was pretty, and if I quit trying to learn, it would look nice hanging on that wall.
Wow. Did you quit? Did you quit trying to learn?
I mean, I still pick it up every now and then. Parker and I were supposed to be holding each other accountable for a little bit.
Really?
Because Parker plays the banjo, and he's much better
Oh.
at the banjo than I am at the guitar. He actually knows some things.
Yeah.
I can do like, on the acoustic, I can do like 7 seconds of a Hozier song, and on the electric I can do one John Mayer riff and like an Arctic Monkey song, and that's it.
Nice.
But it's not like I know how to play the guitar. I know how to play those things.
Right.
So I've just memorized those little licks, and that's it.
Yeah. Interesting. Well,
I
if you want lessons.
Do you know how to play the guitar?
Oh yeah, dude. I played in my jazz band in college.
Really?
Yeah, it was scholarship.
After this, you should pick that thing up
Okay.
and
Please,
give us a little tune.
Please play us a ditty.
I would love that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll play you guys.
You want to do it right now?
on the pod?
On the pod.
I don't know. I haven't warmed up my voice today. Sure, I'll play some.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Would love that, dude.
Yeah, let's get situated here.
Do I have to? What was this last tune?
Well, it's got an electric tuner on it if you need to tune it.
Let's just
I'm
see.
sure you know how to work that contraption.
Yeah.
There's also a capo if you need it. It would be hilarious if you just snapped one of my strings. I have a friend
Or
who
you just didn't know how to play the guitar.
Well, yeah.
Oh, they called my bluff.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a very, very talented guitar player. And I bought these because he said he would teach me.
Yeah.
And he really wants to teach me, and I just have no discipline.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, because that's the tough thing is like, you know, you could take a lesson every week and never practice, and it's the same lesson every week.
Yeah. For a while, he was on me like, did you play your guitar today? Did you play? And then finally, he kind of realized that I'm an idiot and stopped trying with me.
Yeah. Which is tough. Like, this is like another thing about the writing games that has motivated me is like doing something in community makes it way easier to be disciplined. Because when you know that like 8 people are going to ask you like, how's the guitar thing going? You're way more motivated to pick it up just because you have the social guilt of like, oh, I better do the thing. So for me, like posting about the writing games all the time, it was like, now I have people who are going to see it and like want to check in.
Yeah. Well, comedy is very much like that. Like if comics see you do the same bit 5 weeks in a row,
Exactly.
you have that insecurity of like, I'm a fucking hack and
Right.
I need to figure something out.
No, totally. That's not right.
It's a pretty new guitar, so it's not the guitar.
Yeah, it's the tuner I don't know if maybe the flat light is going out or something, but there we go.
I'm so giddy right now. I'm so excited.
Well,
Nobody in the scene has seen me play,
Really?
which is crazy because Jack, LJ, and I record in a music studio.
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
it. I can hear it through the walls.
Yeah. Which every time we go in there, I see the guitars on the wall, and we're always waiting for LJ to show up.
Why?
Jack and I have started recording a podcast that's going to be Patreon only content that's called LJ is Late. And it's just me and Jack recording while we're waiting for LJ. Last week he was an hour and a half late to our podcast.
That's
An hour
insane.
and a half.
I love that yesterday we were at a wedding and they did like a roast thing at the wedding after the reception of like roast the bride and groom type thing. And I genuinely didn't think anyone was actually going to roast. I thought it was
Right.
going to be very lighthearted, and it did turn into a roast.
Oh yeah.
But you and I both had black jokes about LJ being late, which was awesome.
My joke was intended to be purely about the man LJ being a late person.
Well, he is also a black man, and that is also a black stereotype.
Right. So it did have racial overtones that I was. I also. Okay.
That you should be proud of. I do like it when somebody as sweet as you, like, you're for the most part clean comedy and a very
Right.
clean person, just in general, very sweet, and then you get a little bit of racism out of you, and it feels that much more potent.
Well, okay. I don't know if this is even believable. I didn't know that black people being late was a stereotype.
Okay,
Is that really common?
where did you grow up?
Enumclaw, Washington.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is we
That's
just
why.
didn't have any black people around.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm from a place where whites were more of the minority.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that
we were
makes
also
sense.
the majority of people on time. So yes, that's
Yeah.
very much a thing.
Yeah. No, I mean I get, and maybe Enumclaw is just they're all so late they haven't shown up yet. Okay. Sorry.
Don't apologize for being funny.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Yeah,
I just
drop
gotta-
that
I gotta
down
get
in front of the noise hole.
the noise hole. Here, I don't know.
Let's move some stuff for you.
I don't know if this is.
I won't go down far enough.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to pick it up.
Okay. Can I sit on this?
You can
arm?
sit however you'd like.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. You guys know Satin Doll?
By who?
Like Ella Fitzgerald does a version. It's a jazz standard.
Nope.
Okay.
I'd love to hear it. That was beautiful.
Beautiful. Sounds really good on the headphones too.
Does
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was amazing.
Thank you. man.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you for letting me play around a little bit.
I'm sure my guitar is very happy.
Yeah.
That it got
'cause
some use
a
finally.
man hasn't touched it like that in years.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, for Christmas this year, because my dad's always checking on my various skills. I talk about my dad a little bit on stage. He really is like the most, and I, not to brag or anything,
I know you
because
have
I
a dad
know
and we
present
don't.
company.
Yeah. Thank you for qualifying that.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about telling you guys about the AFib like before I got here today, because my dad just kind of armchair diagnosed me, which is the thing that happens when your dad's a doctor. And so I was going to come in and be like, yeah, it's weird to have a dad who's a doctor. Sorry about the pause.
Yeah, it's weird to have a dad. Oh, Parker. Parker, I mean, we have stepdads.
Yeah.
So we are still loved by men.
Right,
Yep.
which is great.
Yep.
Yeah. So my dad, very supportive and wants me to do like, whatever artistic things that I can do. So he's like very supportive of my comedy, but he's also like, he loves the Renaissance man idea. And so he's always like, oh yeah, you keeping up with your guitar? How's your singing? You still doing that? And so this Christmas, he was asking me about that stuff at Thanksgiving. So this Christmas, I recorded him like a couple of covers of different things and like burned him a little CD, because he's in his 60s and he's still got one of those things.
That is something that I would love as a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. When's your birthday?
June 1st.
June 1st.
Yep.
I got time.
Yeah.
I'll drop you a whole EP, dude.
Yeah, I love little stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so fun to do. Just like being, and one thing I'm realizing this, like, so with the writing games, just to bring it all full circle, the end of that, right? The goal is to get to 1,000 points, which I did in like 6 weeks. So I'm at 1,000 points, and then I've got like another 781 right now.
I got 57.
Nice. Killing it.
I have 0. I am really interested with this, and I've been meaning to try it, but I
Well,
haven't.
yeah. Okay, so I am working on getting like a whole introduction video started where it will be like, I'm going to make a YouTube channel where the information can be like most clearly apparent. And then for anybody who wants to get in, I'll have all of the content like downloadable, because my roommate's a graphic designer, has put together some things for me. So it'll be very easy soon. My goal is like end of this week, it'll be done.
Is this something that you want to like sell eventually?
I don't know if I want to sell it, because
It'd be cool if you could 3D print the dice and sell it, or even just have those made somewhere, or mass buy them from somewhere and
that's true.
sell it as a kit. I'm sure there's tons of people that would be interested in something like
You
that.
could make like a D20 with like a tiny little silver sphere on the inside.
There we go. Yeah, the orb.
Yeah, the orb. Where is the orb?
Orb's in my car.
Wow.
Yeah. Orb usually hangs out in my car.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to go anywhere where I'm too far from Orb.
That's that's fair.
Yeah.
I figured you would have walked in and placed it on the table today.
I should have.
You did on What You Kicking Around.
Yeah. What You Kicking Around has frequent Orb appearances. Just because, if we're all going to be gathered around something,
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
you
here's
need
a
that
microphone.
aura.
Orb. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, with the writing games, it's like the goal at 1,000 points is to throw myself a show. that people who participate in the writing games are going to be on it. It'll be very like fun and themed and kind of like living room vibes, but my living room where there's a performer present.
You should have like a Discord chat.
That's a great idea.
And have everybody that wants to be a part of it in the Discord chat, and everyone can share,
that's a great
what they've
idea.
done, and you'd have different channels in the Discord chat.
Yeah. See, this is like that's more the avenue I want to do with the writing games, where like I don't particularly care about making money off of the structure of the idea, because if I start doing that, other people are going to do it for cheaper and make money off of it, and it's just kind of like,
or maybe they're not.
Maybe.
You seem like you're really for the people. Kind of.
Well, you can be both. You can have a community and make money
provide
off
resources.
Of
Yeah. No, that's true. And I have been kind of brainstorming about like what are resources that would be helpful for this, because part of the thing is, so I've come up with something that works well for me, but there are games that I roll for where I'm like, this game's really hard, and I still do that one because it's important to do the hard ones. But I'm like, are there more fun ones that I could come up with? Like, and I'm kind of always in that process. And so, with that, like I want other comedians to find games that work better for them. And so like Parker pitched me a prompt a while ago that would work really well for him, but would work better as a bonus round for me.
Is it something that like is more up his alley that would challenge you?
Well, let's see. If I remember right, it was like hit a topic from the perspective of an alien visiting Earth on the first time.
Right, because I think like that all the time.
Yes.
Where I'm just driving down the road and I'm like, you know what? Mushrooms are weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Like,
I think that when I'm driving on mushrooms.
Yeah.
Well, I just think it's funny that Parker's trying to convince us he's not an alien. Right? He's like, yeah, no, just as a normal human being, this is how I think sometimes.
This is what people wear, right?
Yeah, fingerless gloves to a podcast.
You watched Home Alone, and
indoors.
so you dressed like the thief from Home Alone to try to look more like a person.
Come see Parker Cron, the wet bandit. Okay, but yeah, with the I want it to build a community where people are helping each other like create things, which you're right, I don't think is impossible with resources, but it changes the kind of resource that I want to provide.
Sure.
So I think like selling dice would be really cool. Of like, because one of the things for me is like I got a D20 from my roommate that looks like writing jokes feels.
Well, it could even be like merch for shows and stuff like that.
That's true too.
Like people who know about it. Like I would much rather, if I wanted to do the writing game,
right,
I would much rather buy a Tyson Gusman writing game die
than
go on Amazon and buy one.
That makes sense.
Like people who want to do this with you would much rather
That's
probably
true.
support you than just go online and buy the shit.
See, and thank you. That's helpful for me to hear, because sometimes I forget that people want to support what I'm doing, and it's kind of
people
crucial.
like you. They want to help you.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
If I have friends who start a company, I would rather buy their stuff than have them give me free stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm making my 12-month plan.
Every single show that Yeti goes to, he pays for.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've tried to get him not to pay for my shows.
Yeah.
And he continues to pay
That's
and refuses to not. Some people just really want to help out and support.
Yeah. What a good guy.
Yeah. There's people like that out there, like all over the place.
Yeah.
And you forget because the world is shitty.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, yeah. I mean, sometimes the ugly things are louder than the beautiful things. Because, like, I didn't know that about Yeti, and we've been close for like years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, so I got the venue booked for the writing games show, and I wanted to be like a bunch of comics who are coming together. But then I also wanted to inspire, like, hey, if you're a visual artist, like, come up with this, like, whatever the games are for you, start with a D6 or a D8 or a D4. I don't care.
Tinker the game to fit what you do.
Exactly.
So musicians can do it, and
Yes.
everyone can do it.
Yes.
Tinker it to help their own niche.
Exactly. Because, okay, so another thing I've been doing is starting back in September, I started a project where the goal was to write a poem every day. Again, like, discipline things, right? Poetry isn't something that I care about producing content of, and so it was like a lot more fun for me where that was just kind of a little treat that I get to do. But like, kind of being out of my normal rhythms and everything with travel and stuff, I kind of fell off of it. But there was one trip that I was on where typically I would like kind of make a short film around whatever the poem was. There was a trip that I was on where I didn't have time to do that, so I just go to a random image generator on the internet and I'd like have it make an image, and then I'd write a poem about that image. And like, that was really fun for me, and that was like rewarding. Yeah. And so like, if I'm a poet, then that becomes one of the games that I roll for, right? So it's like I see this structure as something that's really useful because it's rewarding you for doing the hard work, even when the work isn't rewarding in and of itself. It's fun rather than like disciplined.
Yeah.
And like there's a way to celebrate it in community, which means that you're generating community around it.
Yeah.
So those things like make it really, I think, a rewarding and helpful structure for people who want to be more creative, which is my goal. Like not just comedians, but anybody. Anyways,
You're a true philanthropist.
well, thank you. I mean, part of it, I don't know how deep into it you guys get on this podcast, but
You
like
get as deep as you want.
okay, great.
It's usually like deep anal.
Okay.
Like that's
Yeah. I think I was telling you yesterday, I think the entire Miles episode, we talked about jerking off.
But
pretty
how
much though,
deep
yeah.
into get?
We got deep. We got very deep.
So, like part of the reason that I care about any of this, including comedy, is because I think that, I mean, it's like you said, like there's a lot of good people in the world, but it gets overshadowed by the terribleness, right?
Yeah.
Well, so often I think that like the solution to our problems is not figuring out the right structure or finding a good person to do the thing or, you know, beating the opponents to a pulp. Like the right answer is creativity. And if we could find a way to absorb the violence and return on it with a creative impulse, I think that's the direction that we need to be going. And so this is something that I've been working on with like hecklers a lot, because hecklers are like introducing a kind of violence into the environment, right? Where
I love it.
Yeah. We have like a particular understanding of the ordering of this space where it's like this person talks, we all laugh and respond, and they're disrupting the order, right?
Yeah.
In a way that's asserting their power over others. And typically they're ruining a show in one way or another.
Correct.
Right? So my goal recently has been, because I'm not a very angry person, and this is like an advantage that I have in this interaction is like, I'm not going to freak out on this person. And so I'm like, I can absorb that violence, but then how do I respond creatively without just like tearing this person down or making them, because one of my coping mechanisms is like making someone look stupid. Because I've never been like a big strong guy. I've never been like, you know, I'm not gonna beat you to a pulp or whatever, but like I can outwit you.
Yeah.
And then that's gonna be how I survive in the world.
Yeah, that's exactly how my best friend is. He's like a tall, lanky guy who can't really defend himself physically.
Yeah.
And he is very intelligent, so he'll do the same thing. Like if somebody's messing with him, he will find something about you and just destroy you mentally about it.
Yeah. Which is a really destructive trait when you're hanging around drunk people.
Yes.
Because drunk people will take offense to everything anyways.
Well, and they have no reasoning.
Right. And so it's like they not only are they already at a disadvantage in this battle of wit,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're gonna...
You're most likely going to be smarter than them also.
Right. Yeah. So like with that in mind, I'm like, it would be so easy for me to just belittle drunk people. Like I could just make them feel stupid.
Well, and especially when you're on stage.
Yes.
I think what people don't realize is you have lights, you have a microphone, you are standing taller than them.
Yeah.
at the very least, I'm fucking louder than you.
Yeah, you are
yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like you have the high ground.
Right.
They have to then do something so crazy
Right.
to better you.
Right. And I mean, like, they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do this for a living.
Right. And so
we fuck with people for a living.
Yes.
They don't.
They don't stand a chance.
Yes.
But then it's like, how do I do this in a way that still makes people like, I still want to like do something with the show, right? I still want it to be about, you know, creativity. I want it to be affirming to the human existence and everything. And so I'm like, how do I do this without just making one person look like they're worthless? And I don't want them to go home and be like, oh, I'm so worthless. Like I want the drunk person to be able to go home.
You do want them to have that feeling at some point, though.
I want them to feel guilt about what they've done.
Yes.
Like I want them to be like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like punishing a fifth grader.
Right.
You need them to have that feeling.
But
of
you
like,
can't go so hard that you make them cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Well,
don't want
yeah.
their dad to come into school and fight you the next day.
Yes.
But you do want them to not do that again. You want them to respect Mr. Gusman.
Yes. Well, and I think that the difference is we often think about wrongdoing in this really binary way where it's either like, oh, that's okay, or you must be destroyed, right? Like that's kind of the way. But that is a flattening of the human experience that I don't think is accurate, because in reality there is a tomorrow. Like something is going to come after this, and we have to think about how the way that we respond to this moment shapes the next moment. And so it's not just about like making this person feel just the right amount of bad. Like it's about how do I set this person up to reinterpret their actions so that their following actions are better in it, and it shapes them positively in some way.
Only a Sith rules in absolutes.
Exactly.
Second Star Wars reference of this conversation.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Suck it, dude.
Yeah. It's impressive. Do you guys have a competition about who can drop the most Star Wars references?
I guess we do now.
I will win. I will win. I love Star Wars.
Me too. Don't think
That's
so.
my thing. Did you use Jar Jar Binks me, dude?
You got Binks, man. So, like dealing with hecklers, like last night, I got heckled by he just like kept butting in on my jokes. And for a couple, it was quiet enough that I could kind of ignore it. Like it was like, I wasn't sure, like I couldn't really hear him over the laughs, not to brag. But like finally I dropped a punchline that was kind of quiet, and he a little bit stepped on the punchline. Mm-hmm. And so then at that point I had to acknowledge it. And I was like, all right, dude, like, and I addressed him. And then, but I had been brainstorming with someone recently about like, what's a good way to do this? Because I want somebody to feel like they're still important, but they're doing the wrong thing right now. And so I was like, I don't ever, like, drunk people just want to make friends. Like, I'll be friends with you, but I'll be friends with you after the show. Like right now we're friends in this way where I talk and you don't.
It is very interesting to hear your thought process, because you are operating with a different set of tools than like I operate with. Like if a very drunk woman heckles me, I'm very quick to just shut up, bitch. And like that warrants a huge reaction usually.
That's true.
And like that's something you're never going to do.
Right.
And it's very low-hanging fruit of me to do, but I know it's going to work, and it's going to get the point across quick, and like let's keep it moving.
Yes. And if I were to do that, like it wouldn't make sense for my character.
Yes.
Like the person that I am on stage, you'd be like, oh my God.
You can't go back to quirky Tyson after telling a drunk woman, shut up, bitch.
No, I can't. Well, and the joke that I was doing today was about how when I'm on the phone with my dad, I try to trick him into saying I love you.
Are you an I love you family?
Well, so like my dad isn't, my mom and sister are, but it's just the four of us. And so it's like, it's easier for him to be like, that's girl stuff.
I've learned over time, I'm an I love you person.
Me too.
I say I love you a lot. I don't end any phone calls without I love you. Like I will call you back if you don't say it back. Like
really,
it was just my dad wouldn't let us leave the house without saying I love you. It was just a thing that was like drilled into my head.
Yeah.
And like I have friends that aren't like that with their families, and I have to force them to be like that with me, because I need that.
Yeah.
It's not even for them as much as it's for me.
I'm a big words of affirmation person. And so if somebody, like, just for somebody to say that, it means so much to me. And so like I have one group of friends that our thing is like, we say, okay, love you, bye. And that's how we leave a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And so I joke about it because, you know, I mean, it's really, my sister is very much like this. My mom is like this. Mm-hmm. My dad is just not like this, because his thing's always been like, well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like very machismo, which like a lot of this joke is about how you guys know more about history than I do. So like this will be a helpful context if you guys want to work out this joke at all.
Sure.
But
let's do it.
The larger structure of the joke is I'm talking about how, of course, my dad doesn't talk about his feelings. He was raised during the Cold War. And so it's like the whole, like he was raised on espionage and Wheaties. Like he learned secrecy like I learned phonics, you know?
Loose lips sink ships.
Yeah, exactly. Of course he built a little Berlin Wall around his heart. You know, who could blame him?
Yeah.
You ask a Cold War kid to share, he's like, share? Like a communist? I don't think so. So, like that's kind of the whole idea behind the thing. And then I'm trying to set up how, like, my life is different. Because, like, you know, for him, and I really think this is true. Like, as I was writing this joke, I was like, wait, these are good points. Because the reality is there is a power to knowing something that other people don't, right?
Like gummy bears for anal sex.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's a power to knowing that. Like, you have a secret code.
Yep.
So and that was like a lot of the Cold War was like, we know where the things are. We know that we have this. We know that if they try this, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's all of this like underground secret stuff. And so like when that's the cultural climate that you're steeped in, then it's like, I'm never going to tell anybody. And my dad fought a lot growing up. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, I'm never going to tell anybody that I know Kung Fu or whatever. But as soon as somebody hits me, they're going down.
Yeah.
And my dad's thing as a kid, and he's like, he's changed this now. But when he was young, it was like, if you get me, I'm going to get you back and then some, so you know not to get me again.
Well, what's the Theodore Roosevelt quote of be polite but carry a big stick?
Yeah,
or
walk
something?
Softly but carry a big stick.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Yes. No, that was my dad.
I told you he was going to be all over you, dude.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love kitties.
Yeah.
I'm such a cat person.
He's a big sweetheart, too.
Yeah, I love it.
He has to make himself a part of the podcast every time.
That's fantastic.
I do now have to get rid of a bit that I was working on a while back of me explaining why I'm so reactionary because of the time I was raised in.
Okay.
Of watching George Bush start a war over the way things have happened of what I saw growing up, and that's kind of the same thing of the Cold War kind of thing.
Well, yeah. So, and the thing I bring up is actually it's kind of a different angle that I'm a child of 9/11. That's the context I was raised in.
Yeah.
Very different war, right? So Cold War is keep it to yourself. 9/11 is if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
Right? It's this is a therapy war. We know that a lack of communication leads to mutually assured destruction, right?
Yeah.
And so
you talking about your dad being more reserved and not sharing as much.
Right.
I also have a new chunk of stuff that I'm working on of my dad died before therapy was cool.
Oh.
And women love a man who's working on himself.
Yeah.
And I wish my dad would have died now. So I could use that as a tool to be this is something I'm going through and I'm working through it. But when it happened, it was more of just in 2012, men should just shut the fuck up and suppress their feelings.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's I tried to go to therapy and the therapist is can you take a seat? And it's no, I'll stand. More of I only use therapy. I use therapy as learning buzzwords to manipulate women instead of using it to work on myself.
Right.
And that's kind of the same vein of being the tough guy.
Being macho. Yeah. No, but I mean, there's an endless wealth of material talking about masculine foibles. Because it's it is a weird thing. Another thing I was thinking about with this, I have a line about therapy too from my dad, because one time I was talking, this is a true story. Mm-hmm. And one time I was talking to him and he was like, yeah, I'd see, I don't know if he said therapist or counselor, but he was like, yeah, I'd see somebody, but I got to find somebody who really gets it, And the implication in the conversation was I want somebody to acknowledge that I'm right about the things that I'm going to talk about. And I was like, okay, so that's not growing then.
That just summed up exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Somebody to confirm that I am right.
Right.
Not to fix me.
Yeah. So that's a bartender.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's not a therapist.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. But the line in the joke is I go okay, so you want to go to therapy and because he goes, I just want somebody who just gets it, Okay, so you want to go to therapy and not explain a whole lot. He's going to leave the therapist off and be this guy with all the questions.
Yeah, well, and therapists are just people.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was telling me that she knows about her therapist cheating on his wife and all these things. And that he's been in multiple relationships that his wife doesn't know about. And I'm I don't think he should tell you that. That sounds oversharing. And she's no, but you don't understand. He's using it to relate to things that are going on in my life and stuff. And I'm I think your therapist is trying to fuck you. I think he's telling you, hey, I'm willing to cheat on my wife. I know all the things about you. I can now use these tools to manipulate you into fucking me.
That's kind of messed up. But yeah, the angle I was going to go is I think your therapist is using you as a therapist.
Yeah, that
he's just
too.
Crazy story about your dad. That reminds me of this one time.
Yeah, and it's just I don't understand, how a therapist is supposed to do their job, and so I probably shouldn't throw stones. But at the same time, it's just a basic common sense of if my therapist started oversharing, I would be hey man, this isn't about you.
Right.
You need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And the only time you should talk is when you're helping me.
I do think that, there's bad practice with stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm paying you good money.
The idea of Jack being a therapist is crazy to me because he'd just be trying to riff off of everything everybody's trying to tell him.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, it is hard to imagine him like
I've never
like
seen
not
this
turning something into a bit.
Yeah, I've never seen a serious face on Jack.
I've had some like deep conversations with
You're
Jack.
you're closer.
Yeah, like when we were driving back from Bend, like we got real on some stuff. But yeah, I mean it takes a specific context. I do think he'd be good at it though, because like he occupies a niche of kind of person that needs therapy.
He
You know what I mean?
he
Like-
would be a great comedian's therapist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole Boise scene is going to see Dr. Wheeler.
Everybody's just worse off now. One thing that I want to tell you that I love about you that I just learned today. I hate musical comedy.
Yeah.
I hate people who take an instrument on stage to be funny.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this on the podcast before. And it's like there are outliers, you know, the Sandlers and Nick Doones and
Sure.
Steve Martins of the world. I love that you are a good musician and don't use it on stage. Thank you. Thank you for not being fucking hack.
Maybe that's why you don't like musical comedy, because none of the musicians are good.
Well, I mean, some of them are. I mean, most of them just like strum a few notes and then just say a silly thing.
Right.
But also, like, I don't want to see music while I'm watching comedy.
Yeah.
That's not what I tuned in for. If I wanted to listen to music, I would listen to music. Make me laugh funny, man.
Yeah. And like funny music to me is a different thing than comedy.
Yes, like Bo Burnham is different.
Right.
It's a different thing.
And I'm not going to say like you're not stand up, like, you know, I think that's where labels stop being super helpful to us. But it's like, I wouldn't want that to happen. Like if I'm doing a comedy showcase, because the audience wants to show up knowing what they're going to get. And I guess, I don't know, for me, I love stand up as stand up.
Yeah.
Like I love the thing that we get to do. I love that like we start off with nothing up there and we have to build a whole thing. Like that's really cool.
The best way I've heard comedy described is you're in a room with people who are expecting to laugh and you have to extract a visceral reaction from them when they know that they are going to do that thing.
Yeah.
Like they know they're there to laugh and you have to make them do it without knowing they are going to do it.
And this is like what makes comedy so similar to horror for me. Is like you have to figure out how to surprise someone who knows that they're here to be surprised.
Yeah.
That's weird. Like at least with magic, the thing that you're going for is already what you walk in with. You walk in confused. You're like, how's this guy magic? And then you continue to be confused the whole time. You're like, wow, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. I have no idea what's going on.
There's not any clarity in a magic show.
Yeah. But like with jokes, you have to you really have to sneak up on them. Like you really got to, you know, cloak the punch or like whatever, bury the lead. So yeah, I love that thing about it. My dad has encouraged me to get into
I feel like at this point you're bragging about having a dad.
So anyway, me and my dad.
Yeah.
What if I just put some stank on it every time? So me and my dad were
me and my dad, my pappy,
my
pa.
papa. The man from whose loins I sprung.
But continue, sorry.
He's encouraged me to do musical comedy just because he wants to see like the things all come together.
Yeah.
And
there is a market of 60-year-old people that want to see somebody strum the guitar and
true.
do something.
That's true. The closest that I can think about getting is, and this is like something that I kind of want to do because I do jazz to warm up for the writing games because it gets the same kind of like creative part of my brain going when I'm like improvising on the guitar to when I just like want to follow a thought.
Yeah.
Because like this is a weird thing about like improvising music. Each note has to follow all the previous notes and precede all of the following notes, and so you're kind of stuck all the time, painting yourself into a corner that then you then have to play yourself out of.
Yeah.
And that's what joke writing is too. That like everything that you say, you've written all these sentences and now you're like, okay, where do we go from here? And you have to joke your way out.
Yeah.
And so I do that as a warm up. So I thought it'd be fun for the writing games. I know a few friends who are jazz musicians and I want to just open no comedy, just like a cocktail hour where people are like hanging out, milling around, and me and some buddies are like playing some jazz tunes. I think that'd be like a cool way to start. But that is a very different thing than like, you know, oh, here's my parody of American Pie.
Yeah.
You know?
So you essentially just want to be like a barbershop quartet that's funny.
think that'd be really fun.
That would be fun.
Well, okay, so and here's the other difficulty.
When you separate the music and the comedy, I like that too.
But also, you're not making that like that's the thing I am, and that's all I know how to
Right.
do. It's like I'm being silly, goofy, and having fun, and also doing this thing. But I can also go up there and do the purest form of the thing I like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing I like about it, I think in part, is music has this communal aspect that's like really baked into it, where it's like when you have a band and you're going on the road together, it's like this thing sucks and we're doing it together.
Yeah.
And I think that is like the most powerful place that humans can operate out of, is like a thing that sucks together is like that's like a lot of the heart of my religion too.
Yeah.
Is like a thing that sucks together. It's that's such a baller clip. Religion is a thing that sucks together. So the idea of a band is like, oh, we're doing all these terrible gigs, we're in bars every night, but like, man, you know, we all go back to our van and sleep in it together, and we wake up the next morning and give each other high fives, like whatever. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
At best, with a comic, you have one feature that you travel around with. Or like, I mean, there are groups who do like, you know, a showcase where there's 4 of them, but it's like, it's tough to pull that off.
Yeah.
And it's hard to organize. And so I'm like, I'm jealous of that community that musicians get to have. And we kind of have it with like open mics, where it's like your local scene is that, where I know that I'll walk in and I can talk to you guys and I can be like, oh man, like I've been trying this thing, or like, geez, this crowd's really rough, huh? And like we have that. But we don't get the road. And so I'm jealous of that. And I want the writing games to be that kind of too, where it can be that added communal aspect of doing something hard together. And so then like being on stage with a band is just like a cool, I don't know, embodiment of that sort of aesthetic, I guess.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm addicted to the show Below Deck right now.
Exactly the same thing.
And these people are like living and working and struggling on this, you know, yacht together.
Right.
And I think you just connected all the dots in my brain of like, that's why I love it. It's like seeing like the community of them. I also like
wonder if that's why my mom loves it too.
It's trashy reality TV that I love. The 2 shows I'm watching right now are Below Deck and Real Housewives.
Nice.
I mean, I'll poo-poo it. I'll act like you watch Real Housewives, but anytime Mom was watching it in the living room, I was, so who's this lady and what's this guy's deal? Like, you can't help but get invested.
Yeah, like I would scoff when my ex would want to watch Selling Sunset to try and, you know, keep this machismo, you know, kind of vibe. But I would get so giddy. I wanted to watch Selling Sunset so bad. And it was so awesome.
You know what one I can't do is The Bachelor.
I'm not a Bachelor guy either. Also, I'm the same reason I'm out on The Bachelor is the same reason I can't be like a hardcore Swiftie, is it's like the cultish of it, like the community, like. And I love Taylor Swift. I'm not anti-Swift at all.
No, yeah.
But like just the idea of like people who love The Bachelor, it's like if you say anything that isn't I love The Bachelor, they hate you.
Right.
And it's the same thing with like Swift. Like these people that love this thing are crazy about it. It's like being a Trumper or anything where there's like a crazy fan base, like
chiropractor,
the Beehive
enthusiast.
for Beyonce. Like you will not take no for an answer when it comes to them. It's like, this is my God, and this is the thing I love, and that's my problem with The Bachelor. Yeah, is The Bachelor sucks objectively.
It's bad.
It is, and most of the things I watch suck, but they won't admit that it's shit.
Right. Well, and like to me, it's like the composite of the worst parts of humanity and contemporary society that, like, 16 eligible people. You're not falling deeply in love and getting married to any of them in 8 weeks.
Yeah, especially since you're going to probably do coitus with at least 6 of them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, which is so weird because, like, you remember, I don't know, when I was in high school, when I was in middle school was when I feel like my mom and sister were really watching The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, whatever. And maybe I was naive. I was probably naive, I guess. But I never had that perception of like, oh, like these people are all hooking up.
Yeah, well, they tell you they are. They're like kissing in the hot tub, and then it pans away, and it's like it insinuates that they spent the night together and fucked.
They do now, but I feel like back then, and maybe I'm delusional, but I feel like 2010 Bachelor was much more prude, like where they didn't want you to think until the fantasy suite. because that's why that thing was invented. Was like, well, these people got to hook up before they get married.
Well, The Bachelor is like The Bachelor is to Rock of Love, and Flavor of Love is what romance novels is to pornography. When women watch The Bachelor, they think that they're watching some sort of love story or high class thing. When Flavor of Love was the same thing.
Yeah.
Flavor Flav was doing the same thing as The Bachelor. He was just batshit crazy, and most of these women were like fighting and throwing shit, and it was trashy.
I'm unfamiliar with Flavor of Love, so I'm just like trying to piece it together from context
Rock
clues.
of Love was Bret Michaels from Poison, and it was essentially The Bachelor.
Yeah.
But it's these famous people looking for love. And the whole point of it, or like the Tila Tequila Shot of Love, they're all the same thing. They're The Bachelor, but trashy.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as like women who read romance novels. You're watching pornography with words, but you think you're better than people watching pornography because you're doing it in a way of like you're reading a love story.
Interesting.
But some of these books are very, very descriptive on what they're doing. It's you know, they're talking about like grabbing the cock and putting it in their mouth. And it's like, what's the difference between reading that and watching that?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Interesting.
Am I crazy? You guys are looking at me like I'm crazy.
I don't have the context to really.
Neither of you have seen Rock of Love, Flavor of Love, or Shot of Love?
No.
This is prime, like early 2000s.
All right, well, this is now a 10-hour podcast, and we're about to binge.
We're going to
Start
just
at the
watch
beginning.
these
Yeah.
shows. No, well, if you guys do get context, maybe you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
do you understand the pornography reference?
Yes,
I get that.
Okay.
I get what you're saying there. So, yeah, I mean...
Oh my God, whiskey's on top of the cabinets.
Classic. There's a ton of whiskey on top of those cabinets.
There is, yeah. You want some?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay,
Yeah.
figured I'd offer.
Probably not good
No,
for
I
the
appreciate
AFib.
Yeah, probably not good for the AFib.
But, like, is the caffeine, you know?
So,
like
circling back to AFib.
yeah.
So is it just like you're like, I've always kind of felt shitty, and then your dad was like, yeah, it's probably this, or did it just start recently?
You know, I've been tracing it. I had a couple of realizations this morning because I just found out Wednesday. And so I realized this morning, like 2 years ago, I had like a really big project at my job that I finished and then walked away from, and I couldn't drink coffee for like months because it would make me feel super weird. And I thought, just based on the context clues I had gathered, that I had adrenal exhaustion. Looking back on that, no, it worsened my AFib. And so that was a couple years ago. And I look back at like, I want to say there was a season right before that where I woke up and I thought I had carbon monoxide poisoning because my roommate, like I woke up and I just like couldn't stop breathing weird. And so I texted my roommate and I was like, are you breathing weird? And he was like, no, do I need to call someone for you? And so there are little things like this that I'm like, maybe that was the same thing 2 years ago or whatever. But I really don't know. Because it's like, okay, so for example, when you guys are like breathing and beating your hearts, do you notice that when you inhale, your heartbeat is faster, and when you exhale, your heartbeat is slower?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you notice that?
I don't think too much about breathing.
Mr. 50 beats per minute, Mr. Picture of Health.
I'm like hyper aware of everything that's going on in my body all at once.
If there's something wrong with my body,
Lovely for anxiety. Yeah.
I will ignore it. So I don't try to think about that.
The cojones on this guy, right? They're a party trick size.
Yeah, I got my blood work done, and the doctor told me I have high cholesterol.
Yeah.
And told me what to take for it, and I refuse.
Okay.
I probably should.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Care more.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was it. Have you like assessed why that tendency is?
Nope. They've called me to come back and get updated blood work to see how I'm doing, and I won't go.
Okay. I would like
I
you
want
to
to have
live.
a heart attack and die in my sleep.
Well, what if you get a heart attack while you're awake?
Then I will die
It's
awake.
just like pop some melatonin.
Pop some melatonin.
My chest. Alexa, play soothing jazz sounds.
No, dude, I'm turning on Motley Crue and we're going out with a bang, dude.
So yeah, I don't know with that, I was like, I always kind of assumed that was normal. And so, and I think it probably is, like, because you're the second person who's told me they experienced that. And you're not paying any attention. So
Correct.
yeah, that's not a meaningful data point.
Yes.
But I've had things like that before where I'm just kind of like, I'll check my pulse and I'll be like, I think that's right. And I just kind of move on. And so I don't know how long it's been a problem. I don't know if it's like constantly a problem. I do know it spikes. Like I have times where it's like really bad and times where it's not. Cause like I'm a generally like relatively healthy guy. Like I can run for a while and I don't know, stretch.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine mostly.
But you have a retarded heart.
Well, the other thing I realized, the other thing I realized is I have anemia. Did I tell you guys this?
No, you just chew on ice all
I've
day?
heard about this, yeah.
You have an iron deficiency? Is that what that is?
I have an iron deficiency, yeah. And
because you don't eat red meat.
Yeah.
It's because you're scared of meats.
Yeah, it's because I'm scared of the meats. I just tend not to. Like it's not, I have kind of a situationship with vegetarianism where it's like, we're hanging out quite a bit, but I'm still getting some other meat on the side.
Okay. Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and so part of it is like, I don't like cooking meat. I don't like cooking at all. But meat especially, I'm like, I don't want to mess around with it. This isn't the way I want to go out, Like, I don't want to die of food poisoning from meat because I was like impatient while cooking or something. Like, I was going to be late to a show if I didn't eat this hamburger right now. You know what I mean? And that is how I feel like I would die if I ate more meat.
I think that's silly.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. Also, you won't die from undercooked red meat. There are countries that eat red meat raw.
Well, the Midwest has this like, I don't know, like delicacy of it, just like raw ground beef and like saltine crackers in a ball.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's insane to me.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable.
I mean, I don't like that. I mean, fish is the only thing that I'll eat raw.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that.
But people do it.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
I think beef tartare
Yes.
is raw meat.
Yep.
It's a thing.
And like, I think my thing with it, I grew up, and one of my parents, I won't say who, was a doctor. And
You have more of this person than we do?
Yeah. By at least one.
Okay.
And so he wouldn't eat, oops, gave it away. He wouldn't eat, rare steaks. Like he always ordered his steaks medium well. And we would like every time, because my mom's like medium rare and my sister and everybody. And so they'd always give him a hard time about it. And he'd go,
your mom is the he and your dad is the she.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So my mom would give him a hard time about it and be like, oh, like, your steak is going to be so boring and flavorless. And he'd go, anybody who's taken a microbiology course knows that you want to cook your meat. And I just like believed that. And so I have this like internal paranoia.
Yeah, in the back of your head.
Yeah, okay. It's always there.
Also, he does that so he can then tell you that information and sound smart. Like I have a friend, when he pours a beer, he will not pour it in a way where it doesn't fizz. Tilt the glass and pour it so you have a clean pour. He will just dump the beer so it has to fizz.
Okay.
And he does it
to release the gases.
So
you don't get bloated.
He's a biochemical major, and he wants people to ask him why he does that, because no one else does that, and he wants to explain to you why he's smarter than you.
Yeah, I mean that's probably part of what's going on for sure. So
your dad is manipulative. He's gaslighting your whole family. I hate to break it to you,
and you should eat more steaks.
Our dads are a lot nicer than yours. No. My dad doesn't gaslight me. My dad doesn't manipulate me.
I mean, I felt Parker disagreeing with you.
My dad sucked.
Well, your dad also doesn't do anything now. That was the point I was
getting
I get what
you're saying.
Your dad has grown a lot. I guess is what we want to say.
Yeah, a lot of grass.
It's really moving up.
Oh my god. A lot of grass. That was crazy, dude.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's in my head. And in addition to that, I don't know. I'm never prepared to back this up in conversation, but like I grew up hunting and learned quickly that I'm not the person who should do that because I'm too squeamish. And so like I don't want to kill something if I can't clean it, and I can't clean animals. Like one time I was hunting with my dad and I shot a deer, and he was like, "Oh, great, like let's clean this real quick." And I had to like walk away. Like I had to like go into the woods and plug my ears because it was like too intense for me.
That's such a sad moment for your dad to find out that you're gay in that way.
I know. I know. Well, and like he's a surgeon, right? So he's like taking things apart all the human
Just
things.
Another day at work for him.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I have no problem gutting animals. It's not a huge deal.
Oh, yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, field cleaning an animal does nothing for me.
Well, and like I feel it. Like I've had this problem since I was really little, that like watching movies. I didn't watch movies from age like 6 to 14 willingly, because people are always experiencing things on screen that then I have to experience. And if it's like any sort, when I was a kid, it was like if they're sad, it was like destructive for me. But like now, it's like I can't watch horror movies because seeing people get hurt is like painful for me.
So okay, so you like wrap yourself into what's going on.
Yeah,
You're an empath.
I like.
Yeah,
that.
I don't like to say that though, because everybody goes, me, an empath. So yeah.
No, yeah, I like to do that too, where I can like really like put myself in the show or movie and like indulge into what's going on, which is why I can't watch a show like Euphoria.
Yeah,
where it's adults fucking each other, but they want me to think it's high school. So I'm watching this show and I'm living and dying with these high school people, and now they're fucking. And in my head, I'm now watching a 16-year-old girl get fucked.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. And I'm sure the show is beautiful and people say it's shot very well and all these things, but I can't wrap myself up into this pedophilia.
Yeah.
I think that show is
You're doing the right thing.
crazy.
Yes. No,
This
that's
is
good.
me trying to show that I'm better than people who watch Euphoria. I'm doing what your dad does with the
with
media
Euphoria.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying?
No, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. And for me, it's like there is like the cognitive aspect of it where I'll often have to remind myself in movies like this didn't happen. I was watching The Menu the other. Have you guys seen The Menu?
That's an amazing movie.
Crazy movie. I don't want to spoil it for Parker because
I
you
would
should
love
watch
to
it.
think that that's real.
See, and that was the thing is like during the movie, I had to, like my brain said, I can't believe this happened. I was like, Tyson, it didn't happen. That's Voldemort. You know this.
Yeah.
And so I had to actively work against it. But there were like 3 parts of that movie that I couldn't watch because I could tell from the music like, oh, something violent's about to happen.
Yeah.
And I had to like avert my eyes.
Yeah, that's fair. I had to walk out of the theater when I saw the movie Honey Boy.
I haven't
seen
heard of
that?
that movie.
Have you seen that, Parker? Mm-mm. It's a Shia LaBeouf movie where it's about his life growing up, and Shia
Really?
LaBeouf plays his father. And it's about like the destructive relationship his father had with him, like forcing him to be a child actor and them living in poverty out of motels.
Wow.
This whole thing. And I was like, this whole movie just like, fuck, like just thought of like, and me and my dad had a great relationship, and like none of this like at all portrayed my relationship with my father.
Yeah.
But like I had to walk out at the end like fuck. Like there's a moment where it gets like real deep with him and his dad, and Shia is playing his dad, and so you can see the emotion in Shia's eyes of like in this scene he's like reliving this moment with his father, and he is his father in this scene, and it's like so fucked up that I had to like excuse myself from the theater.
Yeah.
And like go take a walk.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Man, that's hard.
Yeah,
but
I am also an empath.
See, but yours doesn't like you can gut an animal and like be fine.
Yeah, but I also don't like yeehaw when I shoot an animal.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
You kiss it on
like
the lips and thank you.
Yeah, like the deer I shot last year, like, walked over to it and like, as gay as it sounds, like said a little prayer and was like very thankful, and then like just got right to work, began cleaning it.
See, and this is the thing. I'm not against eating meat. Like this is, I think when people associate with vegetarianism is like, oh, rights for all animals, like whatever.
Yeah.
I think that is the best way that you can eat meat. Like you killed something quickly and humanely, and then you were grateful for it. You cleaned it.
Well, you're a logical and reasonable person.
Yeah.
I think most people
sometimes.
that run that route are people who can't be reasoned with.
Which is part of why I don't like saying like, oh yeah, I'm vegetarian. Also, like it's hard when people do things cold turkey, they quit. Like
21
had a whole joke about like how he was vegan for 6 years and then he quit.
Yeah. He's hilarious.
He's so funny.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Old wet lips.
Yeah.
Wet
Old fuck
lips?
face.
I mean,
Maybe we'll cut this out.
We are at an hour 30 right now.
I was only an hour 30.
This is the
crazy.
longest pod we've done.
I let it go.
Hell yeah. And we usually just do like an hour.
We pit her out after an hour.
Great.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, this has been a fantastic conversation. I feel like we started like 30 conversations and we finished maybe like 3 of them.
Yeah.
That's how it goes on,
Okay,
on this
great.
show all
Yeah.
the time.
No,
Yeah,
this was
it's very
super fun.
scatterbrained.
Yeah. Is there a way that you guys ended, or do we just all end like?
You could
tell
say-
us a little bit about what you're kicking around, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah. So, what you're kicking around is a really complicated and difficult to spell name for a podcast that I am on. It's me and Jack Wheeler and LJ Sullivan. And it's essentially it's oriented around. It's very loosely defined in terms of like it's not like gimmicky, but it's kind of oriented around like how do comics approach the world, right? So it's three comedians and we talk about content, we talk about shows and things like that, but we also talk about the things that are feeding our minds right now and what we're entertained by and what we enjoy. And so it's birthed out of like we have one psychology major and two philosophy majors, and we all just kind of try to think deeply about whatever you
guys think so much deeper than I do. I don't put much thought into most things. I'm like, it is what it is.
Well, great. We'll carry that burden for you. This is why we need community, right? Yeah. No. So, but it's a super fun podcast. I really think right now, I think we just dropped our 10th or 11th episode, and I want to tell you the story really quickly. I was in the car with Jack, and LJ had been sending us a lot more stuff on Instagram recently. And I was like, hey, are you getting all these reels from LJ on Instagram? I'm not on Instagram that much, so I'm kind of like, I don't know what this is about. And Jack goes, yeah. And I go, yeah, what's up with that? And he goes, I think we're becoming closer friends. And then we kind of laughed at it. He's like, we just kind of swapped personalities there for a second, didn't we? And I was like, yeah. But it's been really cool that like, I feel like we're kind of hitting our stride as a crew and becoming closer friends and everything. So I think it's a really fun listen, but yeah, so that's what you're kicking around.
I've listened to every episode. I love it.
Thank you, man.
It's fun. I love inside baseball. I like hearing you guys talk.
No, it's fun. It's fun. And also like, now Jack is coaching the Washington Generals. So, oh shoot, that episode hasn't dropped yet. Oh, that's crazy.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry. The Washington Generals are the team that plays against the Harlem Globetrotters. So yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, that's what's going on there. And then, I mean, this is dropping tomorrow. So this weekend starts Comic of the Year, which you should come and see Tyler tell me what a good little boy I am. And are you competing?
Yeah, I'm on a couple of the shows, maybe.
Okay.
Yes, you're competing. That's how you. Parker has no faith in himself in advancing.
I don't like putting all the, because I did it once. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking do this competition. I'm gonna do really well.
Yeah.
Lost out the first round. Devastated.
It's hard.
Took a couple months off. Like, I don't want to like get that invested again and just do it for the fuck of doing it.
You can't take competitions seriously, especially if you're not like a very like PG type of guy. Like if you're doing, shit that pushes the line, people are gonna push back on you in competitions. And same thing with festivals. Like you can't get your hopes up about getting into festivals and shit. Me and Tyson bonded over not getting in the Tree Fort yesterday together.
Yeah.
He didn't know that emails had gone out and we were with a comic who got accepted. And Tyson's like, oh, didn't know I got an email yet. And so he goes and it's just,
subject
I got
line,
rejected.
Blah.
And I said, Tyson, you suck. And he looked at me and said, you suck too. And we just had that moment of like, we both didn't make it.
You
nice.
shared a deep, passionate kiss.
Yeah.
So, the thing about competitions is, a framework I've been using recently for comedy is it's never about getting laughs. It's about giving laughs. Like comedy is about what I can offer to the audience. And so if I go into a competition thinking like I'm going to get the victory, like I'm going to get this win, I'm going to get this stuff, I've already lost. Like I'm not going to have a good time doing the show. The audience isn't going to enjoy it as much as if I walked in going like, what do I have to offer to these people? What can I give in this show? And so I'm trying to think of it that way because I'm not competitive and I hate competitions and I think it's foreign to the art form, but
yeah,
that's a different point. So
I agree.
I'm going and think of it like a show, but then I'm headlining Karuna this Friday and then running straight over to Freaky Friday at Watson's. So
Sweet.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on, but thanks for letting me plug that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you'd rather see me, January 12th at the Mad Suite, I will be headlining.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely go to that show, too. That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
I think we did it. Thanks for coming, Tyson.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Boom.